Clapperboard: The Rise, Fall, and Redemption of Lindsay Lohan. Act 1. The Making of a Star. Lindsay Lohan was born on July 2, 1986, in New York City. From the very beginning, her life seemed destined for the spotlight. At just 3 years old, she began modeling with Ford models, appearing in over 60 commercials for brands like Calvin Klein, Pizza Hut, and Wendy's. Her natural charm and striking looks made her a favorite of advertisers. Hollywood soon came calling. At age 11, Lindsay was cast in Disney's The Parent Trap, 1998, a remake of the 1961 classic. Playing the dual roles of twin sisters Hallie and Annie, she dazzled audiences and critics alike. The movie was a massive success, and Lindsay became Disney's new golden child. In the early 2000s, her career skyrocketed. Freaky Friday, 2003, with Jamie Lee Curtis cemented her as a bankable teen star. Mean Girls, 2004, written by Tina Fey, became a cultural phenomenon, with Lohan as its radiant center. She transitioned into music, releasing 2 albums that sold millions worldwide. At just 18, she was one of the most famous young women on the planet, hailed as the next Julia Roberts or Meg Ryan. But behind the glamorous photo shoots and red carpets, storm clouds were gathering. Act 2. Hollywood's Toxic Playground. The early 2000s were a dangerous era for young celebrities. Paparazzi followed Lindsay relentlessly, capturing every night out, every slip, every stumble. She quickly became a fixture of the party scene in Los Angeles, often photographed alongside Paris Hilton and Britney Spears. The media dubbed them the Holy Trinity of tabloid chaos. Lindsay, barely out of her teens, was drinking heavily, experimenting with drugs, and driving recklessly. Her personal life was chaotic. Feuds with Hilton and other celebrities made constant headlines. On and off relationships with actors and musicians fueled gossip magazines. She was labeled a diva on set, with directors complaining about her tardiness and erratic behavior. The pressure of fame, combined with a lack of privacy and her own impulsive personality, created a perfect storm. Act 3. Arrests, Rehab, and Rock Bottom. Between 2007 and 2012, Lindsay's life spiraled out of control. 2007. Arrested twice for DUI and drug possession. Ordered into rehab for the first time. 2008. Another DUI, probation violations, multiple stints in treatment centers. 2010. Failed to attend mandatory alcohol education classes. A judge sentenced her to 90 days in jail, though she served just 14 days due to overcrowding. 2011 to 2012. Continued probation violations, shoplifting charges, and yet more rehab stays. The mugshots became iconic, plastered on tabloids, late-night shows, and internet memes. Studios stopped casting her, insurance companies refused to cover her, and Lindsay's reputation was in tatters. Hollywood, once eager to embrace her, now turned its back. Act 4. Attempts at a comeback. Despite the chaos, Lindsay kept trying to claw her way back. In 2012, she played Elizabeth Taylor in Lifetime's Liz and Dick. The project was heavily promoted but received disastrous reviews, with critics calling her performance unconvincing and embarrassing. Still, Lindsay wasn't ready to give up. Oprah Winfrey offered her a reality series in 2014, Lindsay, which followed her post-rehab life. The show revealed just how fragile she still was, torn between wanting to rebuild her career and struggling with sobriety and trust issues. Hollywood remained wary, but Lindsay found ways to reinvent herself, away from the glare of the American press. Act 5. Exile and Reinvention. By the mid-2010s, Lindsay had effectively left Hollywood. She moved to London, then Dubai, where paparazzi culture was far less intense. Away from constant surveillance, she sought peace and stability. Surprisingly, Lindsay found success as a businesswoman. She opened several nightclubs and beach clubs in Greece, which became hotspots for tourists and influencers. For a time, her name was less associated with scandal and more with luxury nightlife. She also distanced herself from the chaos of her earlier life, avoiding wild parties, focusing on spirituality, and slowly repairing her public image. Act 6. The Redemption Arc. Hollywood loves a comeback story, and Lindsay's was no exception. In 2022, Netflix cast her in Falling for Christmas, a holiday romantic comedy. While the movie wasn't revolutionary, it was warmly received by fans and symbolized her long-awaited return to the screen. For many, it felt like a nostalgic reminder of the Lindsay they grew up with. Her personal life also took a positive turn. She married financier Bader Shamus in 2022, and in 2023, they welcomed their first child. Suddenly, the headlines weren't about arrests or scandals. They were about family, stability, and a fresh start. Act 7. Legacy of Chaos and Survival. Lindsay Lohan's story is one of extremes. From Disney darling to Hollywood's most infamous party girl. From tabloid punching bag to cultural icon of resilience. From jail cells to red carpets. Her life highlights the dangers of child stardom, the cruelty of the paparazzi era, and the personal cost of addiction. But it also shows that redemption is possible. Today, Lindsay stands not just as a symbol of chaos, but of survival. She has lived through the worst of Hollywood and lived to tell the tale. Act 8. Lindsay Lohan as a cultural icon. While Lindsay Lohan's career has been a roller coaster of dizzying highs and brutal lows, her place in pop culture is undeniable. She became a symbol of an entire era, the chaotic mid-2000s Hollywood, where paparazzi chased young stars into breakdowns, and every scandal was amplified by tabloids. For millennials, Lindsay represents nostalgia. Mean Girls remains a cult classic, endlessly quoted and memed. Even her most chaotic years have become part of internet folklore. From mugshots that turned into viral images, to paparazzi photos that are still shared as memes 2 decades later. More importantly, Lindsay's survival reshaped the conversation around fame, addiction, and mental health. She was once mocked relentlessly, but today, many look back and see a young woman crushed by a toxic system. In this sense, Lindsay Lohan's story is not just about personal downfall, but also about the failings of Hollywood and celebrity culture. Now, as she reemerges with a family, a steadier career, and a quieter life, she carries both scars and wisdom. Lindsay is no longer just the troubled starlet. She is a living reminder of resilience, proof that even after the wildest scandals, rebirth is possible.